Curie, under the Marie Curie Actions, we have not only the doctoral networks, but there's also the postdoctoral fellowship where Indian researchers are doing extremely well. We just had recently a webinar on how to write a successful proposal just a few days ago. So if you are interested, not only PhD opportunities, but also like further, like advancing your career in Europe, we very strongly invite you to check out the Euraxis India website. I will leave, the link in the chat so you can click and search and browse through our website. We have a lot of fellowship and funding opportunities in Europe available under the Euraxis job portal, but also for the Marie Skłodowska-Curie Actions postdoctoral fellowship, we organize workshop and trainings on how to find a host institution, how to apply, and also for the staff exchanges, we're doing a lot of information sessions and webinars. This is another action under the Marie Curie for institutional collaboration. So I very much welcome you all to explore the Euraxis websites and the Euraxis jobs portal, where you can find different funding and fellowship opportunities according to your scientific background. I won't take much more time. I think it's we are already running a bit late in this session. I will hand back to my colleagues from the Alumni Association. Back to you, Ashish. Thank you.
Thank you, Samrat. And yes, I can personally vouch for Euraxis. If you ever had a chance to attend the Euraxis events, please go ahead, join it. It's a great website also. If you're looking for jobs and positions in Europe, Euraxis is the portal. Next, I would like to introduce you the project officer at REA and also the part of coordination team for MSCA, Dr. Shana Impins. Shana, please take the stage.
Hi, good afternoon. Now, I have to say that I sent my presentation to your colleague. I assume he's not here anymore. So I will try to...
yeah,
is somebody hearing now? You have it. Okay. You're there. Okay, great. Okay. Good. So my name is Shana Impens. I'm a project officer, and I'm also part of the coordination team for Marie Skłodowska-Curie Actions, for more precisely Doctoral Networks. Okay, maybe for those who don't know yet, or maybe you have attended, in June we had a MSCA call info event, which you can also consult online. There we also have had many questions, which in the meantime we have answered, and we have published all frequently asked questions online. So I definitely encourage you to consult all these questions. You can find them just under our EU funding and tender portal. Okay, so today, as I'm only having half an hour, I try to squeeze in as much as possible. But again, if you would like, we will definitely share this presentation with you. And you can also, and then again, consult the recording of our call info event. Okay, so I will go through some call details and then to go to the short info on the application process. So just very brief, Marie Skłodowska-Curie Actions. So currently we are having these 6 programs and then 6 calls going on. However, I will only focus on Doctoral Networks. It is one of the biggest call for proposals. Currently, it's a budget of 597.80 million euro, and the deadline is 25th of November this year. Okay, you can continue to the next slide. So in part 1, we will now just go to what is basically Doctoral Networks. Yes, you can continue, please. Now, what is a Doctoral Network? It is actually very simple. It is basically one consortium proposing a research project, because knowing that we are a bottom-up approach, meaning that you can propose a research project with interlinked individual PhD research projects for doctoral candidates. And the word itself says it. So being the people who are the researchers, they don't have a PhD yet. They are the doctoral candidates, just to be sure, because many times we receive the question when an applicant wants to apply, do I already have to be in a possession of a PhD? And the answer is obviously no. Yes, you can continue to the next slide, please. Now, the unexpected outputs for the doctoral candidates themselves is, so in the project, there are individual research projects foreseen for you. These projects are basically included in the proposal when the consortium submits the proposal. What can you expect? Research-related and transferable skills training, intersectoral secondments, international mobility, a career development plan per researcher, obviously the appropriate supervision. And then if you just go one back. Yeah, one slide back, please. One more back. Yeah, stop. Now, the main goal of this is to train the doctoral candidates to increase the career opportunities and obviously employability. So for this, of course, we are funding MSCA projects, but of course, the idea is, of course, that they also will remain after the lifetime of the MSCA project. Okay, in the next slide, you see actually the expected outputs for the consortium itself. So if you go to the next slide. So for the organization, okay, just one, but yeah, they are responsible for recruiting the researchers candidates with the MSCA funding. For them, it's also good that they have, they can, let's say, improve their network, cooperation, knowledge transfer sharing between sectors and discipline, strengthen researcher and innovation capacity, and improved quality, relevance, and sustainability of PhD programs. Now, to the next slide, you will see how the DN has been evolving in different phases and different years, because in the end, we always try to strive to more simplification. Okay, our program is quite, has a lot of features, so it is not that easy to simplify every year, but at least we try. So in 2022, for instance, we were offering the option to have multiple recruitments in the NID, which is really an improvement. Now for ID-GD, there is no maximum anymore for secondment duration. While for the standard DN, there is still the maximum duration of 1/3 of the fellowship duration. We also don't have a requirement anymore on the steering board. Then in 2023, we have an increase of the DN grant size. So before it was 360 person months, now there is a maximum of 540 person months. There is also an increase for the GD, the joint doctorate maximum duration of a fellowship, to 4 years. And basically the duration, the whole action duration can last up to 5 years, which is really also an improvement. Now there is also no need anymore to have letter of commitments for associated partners. One of our latest novelty, and this is actually the one, it's rather that started as of 2024, that actually, as you know, that the joint doctorate leads to delivery of a joint double or multiple doctoral degrees that should be recognized in at least one EU member state or associated countries, while before it was minimum two EU member states or associated countries. Yes, so you can please go to the next slide. Yeah, next slide, please. So doctoral networks in more details. Now, basically all 3 implementation modes. For those who are new, we have standard DN, joint doctorates, and industrial doctorates within the same scientific panels. Now, we are having 8 scientific panels. So when you submit your proposal, you will basically have to indicate based on keywords what's the scope of your proposal. And based on these keywords, your proposal will be assessed in the different scientific panels. So the 8 scientific panels we are having are the life science, mathematics, physics, social science, chemistry, economics, engineering, and environment and geoscience. Now, if you go to the next slide, please. Now, these are the 3 implementation modes. Now, our standard one, the standard Doctoral Networks, is what is offering there is we are offering a training for the researchers in academia and or industry. It is basically, it is not mandatory to have industry or non-academia in a consortium. However, it is really highly encouraged to work with industry or non-academia within your proposal. Then a second implementation mode is the industrial doctorate. It is a training in academia and industry. So it is mandatory to have industry involved. And it's also mandatory to have joint supervision from both areas. Then a third implementation mode, we have the joint doctorates. It's a joint collaboration leading to a joint multiple or double doctoral degree. Pre-agreement for joint degrees is required, and this actually is required when you submit a proposal. You really have to attach them. There must be a joint selection and a joint supervision. Okay. Yes, please go to the next slide. These are updates since the end 2024. And we call it updates because there are no, basically this year in the end 2025, there are not per se novelties. So it's an update. So there is an increase in unit costs, meaning that the contribution for researchers has been increased. More precisely, the living allowance are now 4,010 euros, taken into account that the gross amount still needs to be multiplied by the country coefficients, and the mobility allowance counting now for 710 euro per person months. There's also a novelty, an update on resubmission restriction. What does it mean? Is that if you have indicated in a self-declaration of your proposal that it is a resubmission or not, we, the European Commission, REA, will check if 70% or more of the recruiting organizations are coming back in the proposal of the end 2025 compared to the proposal that was submitted in the end 2024, and thus has received a scoring less than 80%. GD eligibility conditions, as I said before, the joint doctorate should lead to a delivery of a joint, double, or multiple doctoral degree recognized in at least one EU member state or associated country. Okay, you can go to the next slide. Maybe I also have to say here, just to clarify for those who are new, what does it mean? It means that sometimes you receive a lot of the question that a beneficiary, they are saying like, can an entity that actually is not able to award a doctoral degree be a beneficiary? The answer is yes. This entity can be a beneficiary. However, the doctoral candidate, the doctoral researcher, must then be registered in another beneficiary or associated partner that actually can award the doctoral degree. Okay, because it's actually a question that we receive a lot. Now, academic versus non-academic. What is academic? It's a public or private higher education establishment, public or private non-profit research organization, or an international European research organization. Non-academic or any socio-economic actor not included in the academic. Now, it is important that all of you, if you are going to be a coordinator, a beneficiary, an associated partner, as you know, you need to be registered in the participant portal, which you can access via the EU funding portal. Now, really important that this information is up to date, because we realize that when actually we're assessing, whenever we, let's say, we want to award the grant, due to actually info that is not correct in the participant portal, we can encounter some issues. So always check if this data is correct before you submit the proposal. Yes, you can go to the next slide, please. Then you have beneficiaries and associated partners. What is the difference? Both can be from academic and non-academic. Only the beneficiaries, they sign the grant agreement. Only the beneficiaries can recruit researchers, but both can actually train and host researchers. Both can be part of the supervisory board, but only the beneficiaries can claim costs. Only the beneficiaries can submit financial statements. The associated partners, so basically they are the one that where researchers can go on secondment. They are the one that supervise and train them. Also, they can supervise and train them the researchers. Okay, please go to the next slide. Now, what is a joint degree? It is a single diploma issued by at least 2 higher education institutions and recognized officially. What is a double and multiple degree? There are 2 or more separate national diplomas issued by 2 or more higher education institutions and recognized officially. Now, as I said before, letters of pre-agreement to deliver the joint or double doctoral degrees, they are mandatory in the proposal. They are one of the eligibility conditions when you submit basically your proposal. Yeah, please go ahead to the next slide. Yeah, and then about eligibility conditions. Now, the eligible countries. First of all, I would like to point out that I highly encourage you to check the list of participating countries in Horizon Europe. This is basically a list of all countries that are eligible to participate or eligible to receive EU funding. Now, who is eligible for funding? They are the EU countries, the member states, the overseas countries and territories. All these countries are listed in the participating countries. The non-EU countries, they are the countries associated to Horizon Europe. So also for those countries, please check the list. It's your Bible. Low and middle income countries, so you have low and middle income countries, they are by default automatically eligible to receive funding. Other countries, when announced in the call, or exceptionally if their participation is essential. If their participation is essential, it must be duly justified in the proposal. Okay. Then there are always specific cases, affiliated entities established in countries eligible for funding, EU bodies, international organization, but also for this, everything is stipulated in this list of participation countries. So I really encourage you to check it. Yes, you can go to the next slide where we talk more about the eligible participants. Who can apply? Well, any legal entity worldwide, but not all applicants all are eligible for funding. So the applicants that are not eligible for funding, what happens with them? Well, basically they can apply within the consortia, but then they actually are coming with their own funding, okay? What is eligibility criteria? And we have to have minimum 3 entities from 3 European member states, or then the Horizon European associated countries, of which 1 must be from an European member state. Okay, this is then the main eligibility criteria from consortia. Then the consortia must be universities, research institutions, and research infrastructures, business including small, medium enterprises, or other socioeconomic actors. Okay, please go ahead. Now, this is something specific since the end 2025. So it's a specific case, we call it. There are now, since this year, there are restrictions for the protection of European communication networks. So entities that are assessed as high-risk suppliers of mobile network communication equipments are not eligible to participate. I kindly invite you, so also in the guidelines of this year's call, there is a link to these high-risk suppliers. You can also check the link to the EU toolbox on the high-risk suppliers. Another specific case are legal entities established in Russia, Belarus, or in non-government controlled territories of Ukraine. And because of Russia's illegal invasion of Ukraine and Belarus involvement, organizations based in Russia, Belarus, or areas of Ukraine not controlled by the government cannot take part in this program. This means they cannot apply as any as not as a beneficiary, associated partner, affiliated, etc. Just in simple words as well, when it also comes to the recruitment of researchers, of doctoral candidates. Basically, not if the doctoral candidate is established currently at this point in Russia, then they cannot apply. But if a Russian fellow that is living in, let's say, France, then they can apply to an MSCA fellowship. Also, here we received many questions already. We have answered many questions to this topic, on which you can find back under the EU funding, under our portal, the EU funding and tender portal, sorry. Okay, please go to the next slide. Eligible size, the proposal. Now for DN, it's a maximum of 48 months, and same for ID. But for joint doctorates, it's a maximum of 60 months. Fellowship, there is from 3 to 36, a maximum of 36 person months for DN and ID. And then there is a maximum for a GD of 48 months. Secondments, it can be worldwide, any sector, up to 1/3 of the fellowship duration for standard DM. For the industrial doctorates and the joint doctorates, there is basically no secondment limitation. The size, and this is for all 3 implementation modes, it's a maximum of a total of 540 person months for all types. When it comes to the associated partners, there is no limitation of the number of associated partners. However, it is to be noted that their role must always be specified in the proposal. So every associated partner that is added in a proposal must have a clear role. And this role must be specified in the proposal, because obviously it will also be assessed by all the experts. Yeah, you can go to the next slide, please. Now, the other eligibility conditions are that all beneficiaries must recruit at least 1 doctoral candidate. They must host and supervise in own premises or used associated partners linked to them to do so. There can only be a maximum of 40% of the MSCA budget that can be allocated to the same country. So if you go over 40%, it is not allowed. And then the resubmission restriction for proposals scoring below 80% in the DN 2024, they cannot resubmit this year. They cannot submit this year. Okay. Now, indeed, for the industrial and joint doctorates, there are also specific eligibility conditions, which we will discuss later on. Yes, go to the next slide, please. Okay. Now, the industrial doctorates, we have the specific eligibility conditions. There must be a minimum, so minimum 50% must be spent in non-academic sector. The non-academic sector, there is full flexibility, being that this time spent can be with an associated partner or with a beneficiary. So that's why we say there is full flexibility. This is also a novelty that came over the years. There is no secondment limitation, and academic and non-academic organizations, they are jointly supervised. Yes, you can go to the next slides. And actually, what benefits industrial doctorates, I think one of the biggest one can be innovation, competitiveness, the EU research network, non-academic, patent, state-of-the-art, leading institution, higher patent performance. Yes, you can go to the next slide, where we'll see the eligibility conditions for the joint doctorates. So minimum 3 participants awarding a PhD, one of which the EU, there must be a EU member state or a Horizon Europe associated country. There must be an enrollment in a joint double or multiple PhD delivered by different entities so there must be a minimum from 1 European member state or associated country. There must be a joint admission, supervision, selection, training, and governance. It's mandatory to provide the pre-agreement letters with the proposal. Plus also for this pre-agreement letters, you can find a template. The template is indicated in the guidelines of the call. There is a maximum of 48 months fellowship and a maximum of 60 months for the whole project duration. There is no preference between a joint, double, or multiple degree. Okay, yes, please continue. Now, eligible researchers, as I said before, if you can go one slide back, please. It is the researcher must be a doctoral candidate, so not already in the possession of a doctoral degree at the date of recruitment, very important, and be recruited following an open, merit-based and transparent recruitment. Also for this, we have Euro access. In our grant agreement, we have also, there are a lot of rules, let's say, when it comes to the open and transparent recruitment that you can consult. Researchers must be enrolled in a doctoral program. This is, of course, also a mandatory rule, and at least one EU member state associated country. And the researcher can be from any nationality, but there is, as you can see, there is an asterisk here. And actually, this is related to the specific case that I said before regarding that what if the researcher is basically based in Russia, Belarus, and non-governmental territories of Ukraine. So for this, I highly consult you again to consult the general annexes of our work program. Then the mobility rule, if you can go one slide back, please. This means that the fellow must not have resided or carried out their main activities in the country of the recruiting beneficiaries for more than 12 months in the 36 months immediately before the date of recruitment. So this is also a very high important rule to follow. So once you do the selection, once let's say you have selected the researcher, it's important to see that the mobility rule is also fulfilled. Yes, you can continue. And this is actually everything in a nutshell that you have to know. I think I'm just going to highlight, let's say, the important things like the joint doctorates. This is also a novelty from the last year again, and the project duration has changed there to 60 months instead of 48. The duration of the fellowship standard, the end, is for 36. For ID, also 36. And of course, it is obligatory that the researcher spends 50%, at least 50% in the non-academic sector. For GD, there is a maximum of a fellowship duration of 48 months. Secondments, no limitation for ID and GD. And the PhD, all doctoral candidates must be enrolled in a PhD from EU member state or Horizon Europe associated countries. Again, for those who are new here today, please consult the list of participating countries. For the GD, they must be enrolled in a PhD for a minimum, at least in one EU member state or associated country. Yes. Thank you for continuing. Then the funding mechanism, how does it work? So we are fully based on unit costs. So we work 1 person month is 1 unit cost. So the total cost is literally the number of units multiplied by the cost per unit. It's 100% reimbursement rate for eligible beneficiaries. We have two different cost categories, the contributions for researchers and the contributions for institutional cost, which cover research, training, networking, and management. Yeah, please continue. So these are basically the two cost categories that you can see here. So the contribution for recruited researchers, we have the living allowance, and not to forget that the gross amount needs to be multiplied by the country coefficient. The mobility allowance, family allowance, if applicable. Yeah, family allowance, it's also something, let's say, that needs to be indicated once you sign the contract. However, now on the Horizon Europe, let's say if you as a researcher, the family allowance will change over the coming years, you're allowed to then modify the family allowance. Long-term leave allowance, again, also here, if applicable. Special need allowance, if applicable, what actually does it mean? Let's say if a researcher maybe needs a special assistant, special transports, then the coordinator can actually apply for a special needs allowance. If this is the case, once you're there, you can of course contact your project officer, who will then guide you through this process. We also have the institutional unit contribution per person month that will go to per eligible month. You have the right to claim 1,600 euros for research training and networking contributions for the researcher. And then you also have the management and indirect contribution. Okay, you can go to the next slide. Then how the overview of the evaluation process, how does it work? Okay, on the 25th of November, the call will close. What will happen then is REA, the European Commission, will do an admissibility and eligibility check. Basically, of the aforementioned eligibility conditions, we will check that everything was met. Then all the eligibility proposals, they will be allocated to experts. Obviously, experts that are having the expertise of your proposal. Then we will go to the individual evaluation. How does this work? The experts are assessing the proposals all individually. There are 3 experts individually assessing your proposal. Once this is done, the experts discuss, they come together, where they agree first commonly on all the position and the comments. Once they all agreed on the comments of the proposal, they will then go to decide on the scoring, and they will try to find a common agreement on scoring. Afterwards, there is a panel review. There is an in-depth quality check to ensure that there is a consistency of evaluation between all proposals, that's in terms of comments, scoring, and then there will be a final ranking list of proposals for each scientific panel. And then, of course, the Commission approves the final ranking list. It is also very highly important to say that there is always an independent external experts that actually are observing the whole evaluation process from the beginning until the end. Yeah. And of course, as well here to ensure consistency of the evaluation. Yes, please continue to the next slide, where you will see the different award criteria. You have excellence, impact, and implementation. Excellence counts for 50%. What is basically there we will assess the quality and pertinence of the project's research and innovation objectives, the soundness of the proposed methodology, the quality and credibility of the training program, and the quality of the supervision. This will be assessed under excellence. Then you have impacts, where you will it will be assessed the contribution to structuring doctoral training at European level and strengthening European innovation capacity. Secondly, the credibility and measures to improve the career perspectives, and of course the researchers and contribution to their skills development. Sustainability and quality of the measures to maximize expected outcome and impacts. Basically, we will assess the dissemination and exploitation plan, including the communication activities. Then there will be also assessed is the magnitude and importance of the project contribution to the expected scientific, societal, and economic impacts. It is to be said here that not all proposals by default not all impacts will be applicable to them. Of course, obviously, scientific impact will be applicable to them, and they of course have to duly describe. But for some, maybe economic impact or societal will not be applicable. If this is the case, then you have to duly describe this in your proposal, why it is not applicable to your proposal, okay? Implementation, we will assess here then the work plan, the effectiveness, assessment of risk, and the appropriateness of the effort assigned to the work packages. the quality, capacity, and the role of each participant, including hosting arrangements. With hosting arrangements, we don't mean housing arrangement, we mean hosting. What does it mean? Does the beneficiary, they have the capacity to host the fellows? Do they have the appropriate infrastructure to host the fellow? Okay, thank you for going to the next slide. Now, one of just the key evaluation figures from the DN 2024 call. We are one of the largest call within Horizon Europe in terms of budget and also the proposals received. The budget is 598.7 million. We have received in previous call 1,470 proposals. They were evaluated around by around 1,240 experts involved, monitored by over 50 project officers. And this all resulted in 150 proposals selected for funding, which will recruit more than 2,000 doctoral candidates. So yeah, I think we can say we are one of the biggest calls with a huge impact. I also kindly invite you, there has been an innovative study on the ITN calls. You can also find this link in the presentation that was given on the call info day. So I really invite you to consult this paper. It is really interesting to read. Now, how to apply our famous EU funding and tenders portal, which actually is your and our Bible with all the info that we have. There you can find the guidelines, the proposal template, the work program, and of course also how to apply. So if you go, as you can see here, you have the EU funding and tender portal. You go to the call itself, and basically there you can apply and follow the steps. Very important. Then you have two parts, part A and part B. You have part B1 and part B2. Part A is the structured data that you have to fill in correctly, very important. And then you have part B, B1, that actually this will be your description of action. Very important that there you basically reply to all the evaluation criteria. I really encourage you to first read all the evaluation criteria so you can properly write your description of action. It is also important to be said that there is also a page limit for part B1, meaning that there is a page limit of 30 pages. It is also to be noted that the first page, so from page 1 to 3, is not counted. So you can say that you need a total of 34 pages. Okay, let's say that you submit 38 pages, then automatically the last 4 pages will not be taken into account for the assessment. Okay, you can continue, please. Yeah, read the MSCA work program and guidance documents before you start. Use a proposal template. Okay, I suggest that you can use the proposal template online. Read carefully the evaluation form, very important. In the evaluation form, sometimes, okay, this year there are not many changes from the proposal template, but still there, it's important to see what exactly we are looking for under every evaluation criteria. Don't underestimate any part of the proposal, because in the end, you're evaluated under the whole, we consider the proposal as a whole. Write each section clearly and in coherence with all sections of the proposal. This is really important. Please continue. The proposal preparation, perform an internal pre-review with your consortium partners and consult your national contact points. Also, for those who are new, you will see some slides further on. I have also the link to the national contact points. They are basically our MSCA contact points that we have per country. You also can consult them for any information regarding, once you have, let's say, you can consult them once you have been awarded a contract for any project management questions, but also for the preparation of your proposal under this call. Duly complete part A, very important. Start preparing early and don't leave submission for the last minute. As you know, we can never trust IT, AI, so don't leave the submission for the last minute, okay? Yes, please continue to the next slide. And then very important tip, think like an evaluator and write for an evaluator. Yes, thank you for, yeah. And then is our, yeah, you can continue. So there are some, this is a slide, but the presentation will be sent to you after this. There are really useful links. I only encourage you to have a look to it. And this is also the link to the national contact points where you can ask any advice. Then the research inquiry service. Basically, you can also ask your questions via the funding and tender opportunities. Every question that we receive, we are trying to update and publish under the funding and tender opportunities. So we have already answered many questions so far. I think it's already a page of 20. There are a document of 20 pages on Q&A. So before you ask any questions, have a look there. Maybe your question is already answered. Yes, you can continue, please. Yeah, and then just as a quote, you cannot hope to build a better world without improving the individuals. Yeah, continue, please. And as a last final tip, read the guidelines, follow the templates, because sometimes we see that, okay, we have people coming back every year, but then they think like, okay, we know the evaluation criteria, but maybe they forgot that there are some small changes this year compared to the other year. And it's a pity that they're losing points for this. So always check the guidance and write clearly, submit on time, and final check. And as a last, I can only wish you all the best when you submit a proposal, or also for the researcher when you apply for a fellowship. Voilà, so for my presentation, again, I cannot say it enough to really consult the funding and tender for the Q&As and actually the recording of our info day that took place in June. Because also in the recording, we are also answering all the questions that we received during the call events. So there are also some nice, useful tips and tricks. Yeah.
Francis, over to you. Is there any questions?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shana, for the fantastic talk about the doctoral networks. We have received some questions in the chat.
Yes.
So I'll merge a few and ask you. So one of the questions is, how competitive is the doctoral fellowships? And is there any age restriction to apply there?
Age restriction, you say? Sorry,
yeah, age restriction. Yeah, age restriction. And how competitive is MSCA doctoral fellowships?
Yeah. Okay, yes. It also depends. We also realize that depending on the field what you're looking for, it is true that that we see that in life science. I think there, or for instance, I'm just saying life science engineering, it's very competitive, but at the same time, I can also say try. Just go for it. I mean, we are having so many projects. We are looking for, like I said, in the DN 2024, we have recruited 2,000 doctoral researchers, and even now, sometimes in projects, we see that people are really having difficulties to find appropriate research candidates. So it does not mean, I realize out of experience of being a project officer, that it does not mean that if they have received, let's say, thousands applications, that they really fit in the project. So I can only say apply. When it comes to the age, well, what can I say? No, we don't really have an age restrictions. However, you need to have you need to respect our eligibility conditions. You need to have a master degree. So yes, somebody of 18 years old cannot have a master degree yet. So yeah. But is there an age on it in our documents? No. I also see somebody says, can I send a link? Can you send a link to the portal? Well, actually, the link is in our resources slides that you have in this presentation. Yeah.
No worries. There's another question. So is it possible to get the PhD fellowship without any publications?
Without any, say it again, sorry, without
any publications.
No. So actually, you can also consult it yourself, the researchers. How does it work? So all the projects need to follow an open, merit-based recruitment process. So what does it mean? First of all, they need to publish. They need to publish a vacancy, and then of course they have to respect the procedures as they are for everybody. But of
No,
course,
I'm sorry. I don't think she meant that way. Publications as a candidate applying for PhD fellowship, not as a institute itself. As a candidate, if you apply for a Marie Curie PhD
yes,
fellowship, is it
I'm
required?
talking as a candidate. Yeah. So yes. So all the coordinated beneficiaries, they must publish the vacancies. They cannot say, oh, actually, I know somebody. I will take this researcher. No, but they can of course tell the researcher, listen, we just published something online. Please apply. This is okay. You see, and then of course, please consult your access, where you can find all our publications. This is the put it in your favorites. Check it every day. This is my only advice I can say. Yeah. Okay.
I think Ashish, you're muted.
Is there any, because I
sorry, yeah. So you already explained the standard selection procedures, but someone asked, is there any chance to increase their chances of getting selected?
To increase their chances of getting selected, yeah, then I would say that try to write as clearly as possible and to adapt your application to what is asked in the vacancy. And yeah, maybe my MSCA colleague from your Access can maybe give some tips and tricks on this. Maybe you can, do you have any tips and tricks to give to the researcher?
Well, very important is to definitely join events like those we are organizing. You know, that gives you like a clear understanding about the context and the content of the doctoral networks. You know, there are a lot of you know, material out there. There's also the Euraxis platform where there are like possibilities to look what are the PhD positions which are open in your field. And I think there's also like, you know, to contact you know, Marie Curie alumni. Like we have here, of course, we have alumni from the PhD, but also from the postdoctoral. This is a very helpful network also to give you some insights and tips how they approached, you know, how they found the right program and the right project to apply for. So I think it's very good to be connected to these larger European initiatives which support early career researchers who are interested in applying into for PhD and postdoc positions in Europe under the Horizon Europe Marie Curie Actions.
Yeah. Thank you, Samarat.
I think I spotted an interesting one because I think they're more or less answered. Okay, I also want to answer to there is are there any spots for research funding in the field of? I suggest go to your Access. There you can look for the fields. I will be honest. I am not checking your Access every day, but it is really well. I mean, we are obliging our projects to use it as to advertise. So everything in all our positions are there. Then there is somebody asking, is it always necessary to have our own research proposal? Well, actually, this is a setup of MSCA DN, Doctoral Networks. What does it work? How does it work? It's one consortium. It's basically proposing individual research projects that are linked with each other. This is actually the setup of everything. It is the project that is actually proposing a research project. So yes, it is necessary because it is how our projects are working. And it's for all the 3 implementation modes, okay?
Yeah.
Are there any questions from maybe just that maybe I missed from the applicant side?
I don't see any.
Yeah,
Okay.
one question is
But
there.
if there are any, please send an email to Shana, and she'll be happy to respond. And also check the MSCA website, where there
Yeah.
are frequently asked
Um,
questions answered.
So, Ashish, there is
Just one pop.
One question is interesting to know.
Yeah,
Whether Erasmus alumni have any upper hand to get the, selected for the postdoc, for PhD program. Sorry.
sorry. Can you please repeat?
There is one message whether Erasmus alumni have any upper hand to get the selected for the PhD fellowship. Is there is something?
It depends again where you apply. I mean, every position that is published is different, so it is really difficult to really. It's a case by case to reply to this. I mean, yeah, every vacancy has its own specificities. So in some maybe yes, in some not. So yeah, it depends what you're looking for. And then I would like to reply to: can a beneficiary have more than one PhD project? Yes. With what? So every beneficiary must recruit at least one researcher. However, every beneficiary can, of course, also recruit more than one researcher. Yeah. Alongside to earn additional income. This is a good one as well. As an MSc doctoral fellowship would be possible to take up other work for projects alongside the PhD to earn additional income. Well, it is when you sign your contract, it says that the researcher should it's a full-time contract and should also, of course, full-time dedicate his or her time to the MSCA project. Now, it can happen that sometimes, for instance, I'm just thinking of something that I had before, that a fellow had an opportunity to go 1 month to follow a fellowship or a short stay somewhere else. Then actually it is something you have to discuss with the project officer. And in this case, for instance, this project was then, let's say this fellow's contract was then suspended for 1 month, you see? So it's really important that the fellow is working full time for the project. So basically, if I read like this, no, they should not have any additional income. Yeah. Is there a limit number of years between a master graduation and the application? No. There is no eligibility condition that is actually stipulating something regarding the gap between your master and application. If I missed any question, please let me know.
Seems no. I would like
no, I don't think so. But since we're running out of time, we'll move on to the next speaker. So one of the biggest advantages of MSCA fellowships is its huge network of alumni, like mentioned previously. So I would like to introduce MCAA Africa Chapter Chair to tell you more about what MCAA is about. So Precious, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Ashish. Thank you everyone that put up this program, and thank you the participants for staying up till this time. So my name is Precious Ekwere, and I am the African Chapter Chair of the Marie Curie Alumni Association. And I'm sure all of us have enjoyed this program. It was put together by one of our working group, the Marie Curie, the MCAA Research and Development Working Group, along with the communication group. Yes, so you've been hearing MCAA, so I'm here to tell you what MCAA is all about. So MCAA is a global network of researchers, innovators, and we are all linked together by being a participant. Also, everybody, we have one thing in common. You've either participated in an MSCA action or you are currently participating in an MSCA action. That is what we have in common. So, and we all know that MSCA actions, the proposals are bottom up. So topics from different areas. That means this group of researchers are interdisciplinary and they are in all career stages. So we have early career researchers, we have up to mid-career researchers, and then those that are advanced. Yes, so we have this rich community of interdisciplinary researchers and researchers in different stages of their career. At the core of MCAA, we believe that our science, our research should make impact in society. And we all know that the complex problems of society can only be achieved if we come together and collaborate. Yes. So there are 5 pillars of MCAA which really stand strong, and amongst it is networking. So building strong global connection is one of the core of the MCAA. And we do that by hosting programs like this, and then also supporting our researchers or the members of its community to attend networking programs. Like recently, I attended the Lindau Nobel Laureate program at Germany. So where there were several Nobel laureates and young scientists met with them. It was a very networking, inspiring session. And that call is up. So if you're an MCA member, I will encourage you to apply because it was really impactful. So we encourage networking section like that. And then we also encourage career development program like the MCAA Academy, which has a mentor-mentee platform where mentors and mentees learn from each other. We also have the micro grants, which we give to researchers to either talk about their research and attend seminars and conferences. So at the pillar also, we have the policy influence, we have communication and outreach, like we are trying to reach out to people now to be aware of the MSCA Doctoral Network Fellowship. And then we have governance and sustainability. Those are the programs at the core of our pillar. So the structure, we have the board of executive members, we have chapters like the African chapter is here, the India chapter is here, and we have working groups like the communication working group and the research and development working group, and then its members. So our core belief is about excellence in research, networking, diversity and inclusion, collaboration and solidarity, knowledge sharing, and public engagement. So those are the things we strongly believe in. So it's a community of vibrant researchers, and these are the things we do. We believe that our science can impact society, and then we come together and make sure of that. So if you have an issue, I heard one of the speakers, Shana, was saying that you can reach out to any of us in the alumni community, because most of us have gone through these processes that you're about to go through, so we could help. So thank you. That is the lead, so that I don't bore you with too much information. That is what you should know about the MCAA. Thank you so much, Ashish. Thank you, Ashwani, and every other speaker here. Thank you.
Thank you, Precious. And yes, MCAA is a huge community of 24,000 members, and we are always ready to help. We are all at different positions, different career levels, and you can ask us the questions. And before we move forward to the closing remarks, I would like to ask Samrat, I know you were rushed a bit. If you would like to add anything, or if you missed anything, you feel like, please go ahead. Samrat.
Oh, you okay? Sorry, I didn't hear the name. No, I think it has been a wonderful session, and the doctoral networks are just an amazing opportunity for early career researchers across the globe. And as already my colleagues Precious, Shana, and Ashish mentioned, there is a support network. There are the MSCA national contact points. There is the Marie Curie Alumni Association. There's the EURAXIS representatives in the different countries, which are very eager to help, early career researchers who are interested to come to Europe, work with Europe under different programs, not only the MSCA. As Ashan already mentioned, if you go to the EURAXIS jobs portal, you will find, thousands of open job vacancies for researchers across Europe, and all the MSCA PhD positions are published on the EURAXIS portal. So I think the portal is very important to use and to get acquainted with, because it will help you a bit to navigate and guide. And then, of course, we are here for personalized support. So if you have any questions regarding pursuing a PhD or a career in Europe, with Europe, you can always reach out to us here at EURAXIS in India, and of course to the Marie Curie alumni chapters in India and in Africa. So wherever you are, there's always a support for you to help you and to guide you to make a career, advance your career with Europe. Thank you.
Thank you, Samran. And I saw there was a bit of a debate in the chat that, okay, so you don't apply as an individual to the doctoral network. That's the institute that applies. But to find those PhD positions, your access is your website, which you have to go. So with that, I would like to invite MCA India Chapter Chair, Vishwas Pikundi, to give the closing remarks and end the webinar. Vishwas.
Thanks, Ashish. First of all, thanks to all the participants been with us for the last 1 hour and 15 minutes. For your patience, I hope you had a lot of things to take away, because we had really fantastic speakers today. First, to start with Samrat, country head of Euraccess India. Thank you, Samrat, for all the insights and the links. Euraccess has been really great for researchers. You know, whether
you're
they
muted,
apply.
Vishwas.
Sorry, you can hear me, right?
Yes, we can hear
Yes,
you.
you are, please.
Okay. So again, thank you, Samrat, for sharing all the information about Euraccess. It's been a great resource for researchers, you know, whether they've tried to find jobs or fellowships for PhD or postdoc and so on. So thank you for that. And secondly, thank you, Shana, from the European Research Executive Agency for the great talk. A lot of insights. I know there is a lot of information out there, and I hope all the participants will take a clue out of that presentation, and it will help you apply better for your PhD doctoral network coming this year. So thank you very much, and I hope the slides will be made available to all the participants so that they can go back and refer to all the important information out there. And thirdly, Ashish, MCAA Communications Working Group Chair, for handling this session so well, and also Ashwani, the chair of the MCAA Research Funding Working Group, for organizing this and getting everything together. And last but not the least, Precious, the chair of the Africa chapter of the MCAA, for all the important information and details about the MCAA and its activities. I hope this was a very useful session for all the participants, and we hope to see you in some similar session going forward, whether it is on doctoral networks or even the postdoctoral networks. So we are here. Please follow us on LinkedIn, as well as our website, mariecuriealumni.eu, and all the events are published there. Thank you. Good evening, and have a nice day wherever you are.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks so
Thank you.
much. Bye.
Thank you for support.
Bye. Bye, everyone. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
I'm going to close.
Sure.